Hi guys, this is Stephanie Eiliff. I'm here today talking with Megan, and Megan is just like a freaking rock star. She is so amazing. I'm so excited for you all to get to know her and talk to her today and just learn from her about her self-love journey. She's also a self-love coach, and she helps women also with fitness. She helps women flourish and to help them find their confidence. I'm so excited you guys get to learn from her. She's someone that I followed on Instagram for like the last year and a half now, has totally pumped me up, totally motivated me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for all of that.
Yes, are you serious? Of course. You're like just so rad. I love it. I literally am like getting pumped up over here.
It's just like how we roll.
Yeah, gotta get pump those jams. Tell us a little bit about you. Go ahead.
All right, so I am 27 years old. I'm originally from Maine, but I decided to just get up and move to Florida for real, no like apparent reason. I just was unhappy there, and I thought sunshine makes me happy. So moved to Florida. For the first year and a half of my life here, I worked for a naturopathic doctor as a nutritionist. Awesome. And I mean, I love that. I love the connection I was making, but there was so much of it that I wanted to make my own. And I wanted to work more on the mindset and self-love. And, you know, obviously nutrition and fitness is so important in our transformation. But I know that deep down, we have to work on what's limiting, what is holding you back, what can we flourish and grow. So I decided to start my own coaching program, which now is called Flourish Your Mega. And I help women all across the world. They come to me really because they think they want just a body transformation. But it's really funny once we start to dig deep, they're like, oh, and my confidence, like I need help with that. I need help with loving myself, accepting myself. And then we really grow that and make it come full circle. So that's what I do every day.
I love that. How did you find your own self-confidence?
That is such a good question. And that's actually like how I walk women through it is some of the steps that I have gone through. But my number one thing was waking up and looking at myself. I found that I hid from myself because I was afraid to show myself who I really was, because I was afraid that the outside world might know it and it was not good enough. Yeah. So really opening my eyes to who I am and discovering deep down what I wanted, what I needed, and what I desired in life.
I love that. So how did you go? How did you change that to just start being able to look at yourself? Did you just start literally looking at yourself in the mirror and like doing affirmations, or were you just like, okay, I'm going to love myself? Like what was like your actual steps of doing that?
I wish that it was like, okay, I'm going to love myself today. That would be great, right?
Be like, oh, I love everything about me. Like, it's so easy. What do you talk?
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. No, it really, actually, the first step was to look in the mirror because I hid my own body. I hid my own face from myself. Like I would wake up in the morning, I would touch my body and like start to instantly hate everything. Like I'd be like, oh, not a good body day. And I would feel like how uncomfortable I was, but I would never let myself actually see myself. And if I did, it was like, it had to be perfect, you know, like sucked in.
Like, oh, I'm like all the time. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so it was the first step of taking a look at who I am, talking to myself in the mirror, like looking at myself in the eyes. I think that's underrated. A lot of people say like, look yourself in the eyes, you know, say those affirmations, but it's seriously true. Like if you're not looking into who you are, like you're never going to actually get these answers. So I did have to take some time to look at myself in the mirror, and then working out, journaling every day, really when you don't even want to.
Yes, I so believe in journaling and affirmations. So you're talking my language and mindset. Like I don't feel like everybody really understands the power that is and the therapy that's actually in writing things down, because you actually release it, you heal from it, and then you're visualizing yourself in that. So if you're saying like, okay, I am strong, I am beautiful, I'm not weak, like all these things that you're saying, whatever it may be, you literally start to visualize that and your brain starts to form a new idea and starts to see yourself that way. And then you literally can find that self-love and that validation. So what are some things that you affirm to yourself?
So every single day I do my gratitude list, and it's something, you know, as big and as important as the loved ones around me. Then it's something as simple as like, I have access to clean water. Like,
so, but literally, isn't that not like a gift? Like there's so many people that still literally don't have access to clean water that we take for granted. Like I have 17 water bottles in my car that I should drink all the water of. Like we don't even realize it and take for granted, you know? It's amazing.
Exactly. So the gratitude is like my first step every single morning. And then from there, the affirmations. And I don't do like really long, like sometimes if you like Pinterest affirmations, they can be like so long.
Right.
That's great.
Want me to do 7 things? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I just do 10 I am statements, and they're like short, to the point of what I want to be. And my 2 that I say every single day are I am vibrant and I am radiant. You know, I want to shine out to the world and I want the real me to be able to be seen.
Well, you do. You totally shine. Like you can feel like your authenticity just like literally like is a beam of light. So I love that about you. So why do you choose those 2 specifically?
Everything else that I say, like when I'm, you know, going through prep for bodybuilding, I'll say like, I am fit, I am strong, and those are so important too. But to me, like being vibrant and radiant every single day, no matter what, is like your light might be a little bit dimmer one day, but it's still there to still have that vibrancy out into the world, no matter what, if it's like a good light or a negative light that day, just to be there and be yourself. That's important to me.
I love that. So how long have you had a morning routine like that for?
I dabbled with it for probably about 2 years, but been serious about it for the last like year and a half.
I love that. How do you feel like that helped you transform, or what do you think a morning routine did for you?
One, it's set like keeping your word to yourself.
Oh, yes, girl. It's powerful. Yes, I love it.
So many of us are like, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be able to. And then you don't. And every single time that you don't keep your word to yourself, your confidence gets reduced.
Right.
You can't keep your word to yourself. How are you going to show up for anyone else in this world?
Yes.
So one, it really, really helped me prove to myself, like I can do something consistently.
Oh, I love it.
And then also it just gives me a little structure, and it always sets the tone for the day. So can't lie. There are days where, you know, I've got things going on and I'm like, I just won't do it. I just won't do it. And then 2 hours pass. I'm like, okay, Meg, stop what you're doing. Go back to your morning routine.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's 11 p.m. like a.m. Like you've got to do it.
Well, it does. It just totally sets you in the right frame of mind. And that's why I love doing the same first thing in the morning. Cause I'm like, okay, here's my mindset. Here's how my day is going to flow. Here's what I'm going to do. And I think it's so important. Like you said, it really does build that inner confidence. Cause like, okay, if I can stick to a routine and wake up every day and I can do these 4 things, I can do anything else. And that's what's the beauty of it, is it's teaching these little self-disciplines every single day that have a bigger reward for it. Because then it's like you compete, right? You have to have so much self-discipline to compete. And these are just stepping stones to helping you do that and be able to see yourself competing and being how good you are on the gym and your fitness and everything else. So I love that. Absolutely. Do you have a nighttime routine?
Kind of. Basically, I give myself a few minutes of just silence.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like meditation, but it is just like relax.
I love it.
And then I do my gratitude. Actually, it's usually with my boyfriend. If he's home, he works nights. So if he's home, then we'll do our gratitude at nighttime together as well, where we speak it out loud.
I love that. Do you feel like there's power in saying your affirmations out loud?
Yeah, actually, when I'm doing my writing, I write out I am statements, and then I say them out loud after.
Yeah. So tell me why you think that's powerful. Like what happens when you voice it?
It gets really like out into the world down in writing, but then when you're actually saying it, it comes through you. And so I feel like when you're actually voicing your own, you know, opinion about yourself and who you want to become and who you're working towards, that's when it's like, okay, universe, like I'm ready for it.
What's up? No, I love that. And you meditate too, right? So how do you use meditation? I think people get the idea that you have to meditate and like you have no thoughts that come to your mind and you're just like sitting in pure silence and nothing else is happening. But I'm like, girl, my mind goes like 17,000 miles in a minute. Like I can't even focus. And so that's why I meditate, is just to sit and like be silent with myself and like just take everything in. So tell us like how you meditate and what you think the benefits are of it.
Yes. So definitely being able to just sit in a comfortable position. Like there's no way you have to do it. You know, everyone's like, you know, sitting like this.
Like just sit how you're going to be comfortable. Hang out.
Yeah. Sitting, laying, whatever it is. And usually I have like a nice scene. So I have like candle or an incense or something to just kind of calm my mind. And I just focus on my breath. And sometimes that focus doesn't stay there. Like I'm thinking, oh, did I let the dog out? Like silly things that we all do.
Right.
But it's just the ability to recognize you did and be like, instead of getting mad at yourself, being like, okay, Meg, like back to the breath. And
yes, I love that.
I think recognizing your space while you're in that is also important. Like I'm in my home. I am safe. I am here. I am abundant. Like I am safe. I think that's important.
That's so amazing. I love it. So tell us a little bit about like your self-love journey and maybe some things that you had to process or really had to dive into to heal yourself in order so you could really love yourself. So I think that's the mistake people think about self-love, is that it's just like, it's self-care. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just get my eyelashes done. I'll put a face mask on and I'll go tanning. Like that's not self-love. Self-love comes from within. And I love how you said you want to beam like a light and you want to help other women find like their worth, and like just, I love that about you. And so, and I think that's what they have to understand, is it comes from inside. Like self-love and confidence is all an inside job, not an outside job. And then you beam a light of that because you're like, I love everything about me. But what did you have to do to literally love everything about you? I think it's always still a work in progress, but what are some things that you do and what would you say to people that they could do to find self-love?
Recognizing where you are is super important. So I think a lot of us try to like blindly just push it down.
Yeah.
You know, we don't listen to the voices that are saying so many negative things.
Right.
I know that I've worked with a lot of girls who are like, no, I got this. I'm good. I'm confident. And then later, like months in, they're like, oh my gosh, like I wasn't as confident as I thought.
Right.
So recognizing it and being okay with it. Like, it's so shameful in the world to not love yourself right now because self-love is such a big topic.
Yeah.
And I think being able to actually admit it, like, I am not exactly where I want to be, but I'm where I need to be able to grow there.
Yeah. I love that.
So that is definitely important. And then also recognizing that it takes time and it's always going to be a journey, and there are going to be times where it's stronger than others, and that's okay. And to appreciate the times that it's not so strong, because that's where you bounce back up higher.
Right.
And further and deeper into it. And I think another important thing is that I had to recognize is that it's not all bubble baths and face masks. And stuff
Right. Yeah. It's actually sitting and like dealing with yourself inside.
Exactly. So what I had to do is I went to therapy for some of the things that I grew up with that I had to deal with, that really created some limiting beliefs in myself, and talking it over with people. So many people put shame on therapy.
I know. And it's like, literally you need it. Like therapy is such a beautiful gift. It's something that we all need. And every single person has something that they are pushing down and not dealing with. And we just try to, distract ourselves. Like, so for me, I distracted myself with drugs, with not being emotionally available to anybody, and from that, I went from a super shame pit and just sat in like shame mode all the time. So then I binge eated, like I did all these different things of distracting myself from actually sitting down and be like, okay, why don't you figure out all your problems and actually put all your shit on the table and just deal with it and face it. And I was so afraid to face it because I was like, oh man, then I have to really actually love me, and by me loving me means I can let someone else love me. And that's powerful, but it was so scary. So how did you do that? Like, what was your steps for just like really facing all of that? You said there, which is no shame. That's back to my point with that. Sorry, don't have shame with any of that. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Journaling was a big part. And like I said before, I hate journaling. I hate it. And every single day to this day, I'm like, don't want to do it today. I don't know why. I'm not a good writer. Like my handwriting looks horrible. There's so many excuses, but actually journaling it out and be like, that's what I think. Oh my gosh. Because we have a million thoughts in our brain at once that we can't ever like correlate it to what we're actually feeling.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mentor the other day about like overwhelm. And what she said is, she's like, Meg, you just have too many tabs open in your brain, like a computer. And you constantly are like, I'm going to go back to that, but let's ignore that for now. And it's like this mismatch of everything. So writing it is huge. Journaling is huge.
What a good analogy for that though too, because we do, and especially the world we live in now where our like attention span is like 7 seconds, I think was the last time I read about that. So literally we open up all these other tabs, and then I think that's what we do, is we try to distract ourselves because we start to open it. We're like, oh, I don't want to go there. Never mind. That's too scary. Okay, you know what? I need to go do this. I need to go do this. And as women, we already have like 1,000 to-do lists in our head. So it's easy for us to just like, oh, tab number 27. Okay, here we go. And instead, like, just sit and focus. And I love that you said, like, you don't like journaling, but you're still going to do it. And that's you also with your self-discipline is like, okay, I know I hate doing this, but I'm going to force myself to journal because I know what the end result is and it makes me feel better. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I think that's what separates people from actually finding self-love and that success is that they actually go into that open tab. They deal with it. They write it down. They do the hard steps to actually heal from it. So it's not going to be easy. Like, was it painful dealing with all the stuff you had to go through?
Sure was.
Painful.
There were times like, so a lot of my backstory is anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia, eating issues. So a lot of that, there was times during my journey where it got worse.
Yeah.
And like, you have to feel through the worst things sometimes during the middle of your journey, but it's going to get better. If you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and never deal with it, then you have to deal with like a little bit of hard every single day. But if you can face it today and tomorrow, the hard stuff's going to hit you right now, but the next step is a lot easier.
I love that. Can we go back to a little bit what you said? I like the body dysphoria. So I think that there's so many women that struggle with that today, just body issues in general. I think it's because social media can be a beautiful thing or it can be a terrible thing. In this aspect, it's a beautiful thing. It helped me interact with you, helped me see you, be inspired by you. But I think a lot of people follow people that they makes them feel insecure, or they feel like they're in comparison mode, or they're in competition mode, and it makes them then sit and dwell on their body that way. And just as our culture is today for women, and you talked about this when we talked too, is like, if you could help women see like their worth and like what beauty is, it'd change the world that way, right? But talk to me a little bit about like your issues with that and how you had to overcome that and what steps you did, because like, let's just go back to this. I mean, this is what she looks like, y'all. Like, she's freaking amazing. And I think what's important to think here is that always show compassion and love to another woman, and don't judge other women, because you never know what they're going through in their head. You could look at someone and be like, wow, they have it all together. They have the perfect body, the perfect car, all this stuff. You don't know what's really happening up here. It's like showing that love and that compassion and not judging other women. Like, that's how we can freaking change the world. And that's how women see other women as beautiful. But tell me a little bit about your story with all of that and how you kind of healed from that.
Okay. So, well, just growing up, I mean, my mom was a big factor for me, where she would look in the mirror and she would always like pinch at different spots of her body and like stare and like point every fault out. And then even like when I got to like teenage age, she would like pick at my face, and like I didn't have a problem with what I looked like, but she would go in there and pick out my blackheads and stuff. And then I would constantly feel like I just wasn't enough, and that like, why doesn't she love me who I am right now? And it's totally not what her thought process was. That's how I interpreted it. And then, any young girl wanting to look just like the girls in the magazines. At that time when I was, younger, I didn't have social media, but media in general, I always wanted to look like them. And I grew up in a family that wasn't very healthy with our food. I did sports, but I ate junk all day, every day. So my body was
just not good for me.
Right. My body was just not what I thought was worthy because of that. And I kind of hid who I was on the inside by trying to make my body perfect. So I just tried to be loved and accepted for my body because it looked like everyone else got acceptance for that. And so I was really quiet because I wanted to be seen before I was heard. I would rock like the lowest cut shirt.
Like, hello world, see me now.
It's like, I don't have to talk, but here I am. Like, kind of embarrassing to say that, but it's true. And I think, have to be able to admit those things that you did in the past.
Totally. Well, that's just part of self-love, is that you can look back on it and be like, okay, cool, that's who I was, but that's not who I am. And then it's looking back and knowing why you did that. So you took the dive into yourself and like, okay, I didn't feel perfect, and I wanted I wanted someone to love me. I want someone to see me. And so you're doing it in whatever way you can. So thank you for sharing that. Thanks for being honest with that.
So that was kind of where I was at. And then to be able to overcome it, a lot of it was this internal work, but I have to give some credit to my current boyfriend of like, just always being like, I just don't see how you see that every single day. And I'm not preaching that people need to find someone else to help them get through it, because that's not, the work was done by me on the inside. But it does help when you surround yourself with people who do see you for the beauty that you actually are.
I love it.
So he really helped me there. And then the journaling process and me taking that look in the mirror and allowing myself to see myself relax. Like I just didn't allow myself to see it. So that if I saw it in a picture or, side glance walking through a window, I was like, ew, what is that? Like blindly believing I was something that I'm not.
Yeah.
Just accepting who I was and being okay with it. And then also a huge thing was me voicing it to the world. So if you see my social media, I'm always doing like flexed, relaxed, still worthy pictures, like,
which I love that you'll do like, okay, like everything's tight and all good. And you're like, okay. And then normal. And it's like, yes, people need to see that. And it's so good to see that. And it's normal. And I think it's so important for women just to look at that because it's so easy just to post the perfect picture. And how many pictures do you really take to get one perfect picture? Right. And then we sit and think like, oh, that's what that person's life is like. But you really have no idea what's really going on or like what's in their head, and just learning how to love and not compare and not judge, I think is just beautiful. Because then I think the more you're judging and comparing yourself, it's because you're doing that already inside. And so if you can stop that and just love yourself, you look at the world with love, which is powerful,
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that is exactly true, in the sense that if you're fully okay with who you are, you're not going to look at someone else and be like, ooh, what is she doing?
Right. Oh, girl, who do you think you are? Soul sister? But yeah, when you like love them, you're like, okay, girl, get you. I see you, and it's fine. And I love that you said, I see you, and like that your boyfriend saw you, because I think you do need that. I think once you really find self-love, you still need someone to see you and like really just continue that validation. And not that you need validation, but it's like, okay, so what I see in me, you see in me, and it's like, I see you. Those are the most powerful words, because you're like, thank you. Like, or when someone sees something in you that you haven't seen yourself yet, you're like, you think you see me doing that? And then you're like, oh shit, like, okay, yeah, let's make it happen. I can do it. And that's the like having mentors and people that see something else in you and then following that path. And I'm very thankful for the mentors I've had in my life that have shown me a light. And they're like, I see this in you. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'll get it. So yeah.
Exactly. Like I speak those words to my clients all the time. And when they're sending like their check-in pictures or something, if they're like a body transformation client, a lot of them are like, in the beginning, still with those negative connotations about themselves. And then I'm saying the small changes that I see, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. I do see that now. Like we need community. And that's
1,000%.
Coaches, mentors, teachers, they're all such beautiful parts of our life, because one, it's okay to need that. Like get that out of your mind.
You need that. There's nothing shameful about that. Like people are like, I hired a coach, and they're like, why do you need a coach? I'm like, because I want to be my best. And so I'm going to hire the best to push me to be my best. And I know where I fall weak in my accountability. So of course I'm going to have someone do that for me. And that's self-love, is knowing I'm going to fall short here. So I'm going to make sure someone else is going to hold me to it until I can. And then it's a different stepping stone,
Exactly. And that ties into being vulnerable enough to seek help.
Yes. Yes.
Like I'm so vulnerable. I'll share anything and everything. But I wasn't always that way. And I used to really struggle with being wrong. So I didn't want to speak because of that either. But now, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm going to learn from it. And I think that's so much more respectful than someone who's, I got it all together.
Yeah, like, oh please. I'm like, girl, I do not have it all together. Well, and I think that's also part of self-love, though, is like being humble enough to put your ego aside and be like, okay, and you look at the world as, what do I have to learn, rather than I'm here to prove something. And you're like, okay, anybody who will teach me. And that could be like literally a kid to someone that's 100 years old. And I don't care where you've been or what you've done, but like everybody has a lesson to teach you. It's just if you're willing to actually be the student. And one of my mentors actually told me that a long time ago. He said, there's always a teacher. There's always a teacher. You just have to actually be the student. And I was like, wow, that's so true, because you can learn something all the time, but it's coming from a place of love and like loving yourself enough to be like, I don't have to be right. It's like Kendrick Lamar, like sit down, be humble, and let me learn something,
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I think it's beautiful. And vulnerability, I think so many people feel like that's weakness. And I think a long time ago that was taught that, right? It was like, if you're vulnerable, you're weak, like, and men have to be these super strong people and women have to just like be a mom. And that's all these, like, it's just so different. And now it's like, no, vulnerability is literally like the biggest strength. And that's how you create the community. That's how you bring people together. That's what people need. And people are literally craving like authenticity, especially with the world we live in today, where it's your standard or like your success is based off of like your likes or how many followers you can have or what kind of things you have. It's like, no, just like love each other and like be vulnerable enough to like, hey, I'm going through a really bad day right now. I could use some love and support, but we're so afraid of being right or that we're not going to be a successful person anymore if we do that. So how did you find it okay being vulnerable?
Just doing it.
Love it. Yes.
I know that's like the answer nobody wants to hear, but seriously, you have to just take a little bit, do a little bit, do a little bit. And every single time you do it, it gets easier.
I love that.
The first few times it's so hard. And obviously there's certain things that I talk about and I'm open to new vulnerabilities. And every time I'm new with something, it's hard. But once you do it, it's like, I didn't die. I'm okay. I think a way to get over that is for you to think, what is the worst thing that could happen? So-and-so might judge me. So-and-so might judge you, blah, blah, blah. Will I still be okay? I'll be okay. Okay.
Yes. I love that. I'm all about that. I love helping people realize what their biggest fear is and then realize really it wasn't that scary if you just actually took the leap for it. And fear is just made up in our mind. And I think it all comes from being judged. We feel like we're going to be judged so much by one person, or because someone could be so afraid of posting a picture or talking about one thing, they're afraid what one person might think. Like, you're really going to let that one person ruin your day? Who cares? And if that's the case, remove that person from your life because they're limiting your beliefs about yourself. And it's okay to do that. Did you have to end any relationships or like kind of change up your life so you could level up the way you have now?
A bit, yeah. Moving away from Maine helped me a lot. Not that it was like my current circle that I was hanging out with or anything. They were all amazing and they're still so close and dear to my heart. Still talk to them all the time. But the people that I like grew up with a lot, them still like lingering in and out of my life, that was really hard to always, I think a lot of us actually struggle with, what are my high school people going to think? Like,
right. It's like, who cares?
Like, they're not there anymore.
Right.
So that was a huge thing I had to let go of, more so than anyone that like is around me now.
I think that's powerful though. I think that's another part of self-love is creating boundaries that you know that you need to have so you can continue your self-love process. And that was one thing that was really hard for me, was to create those for myself, because I was such like a yes person. I was like, yep, sure, like whatever. And I was such a people pleaser. But when I did that, I found more self-love. So I was like, no, like I'm worthy enough and I am going to keep this commitment to myself. And that really like rose me to a different level. And people treated me differently. Like it was like immediately like a shift, like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Like, you know, and it was just crazy. And I tell my clients that, so I'm like, when you really love yourself, you will level up and you will feel like that shift within you. Cause you're like, nope. And you like literally sit up higher. You're like, no, this is what I know I'm worth, you know, like it's just, it's so rad. So I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
Just the other day, I heard someone say that my boundaries are not set to hurt or harm you, but to protect me.
Yes. That's powerful.
I think people have to think of that.
1000%, because it really is. And it's you knowing what you need to have for that. So I love that. It's amazing. So talk to me a little bit too about just like your journey with finding fitness and how that's helped you and how it really helped you create like your confidence and how you do that for other women.
Okay. So I think a thing out there right now is like people are saying, don't start working out because you hate your body. And I agree, but I started out because I hated my body. Yeah. I started out because I was unhappy with my life and I was unhappy with what I saw in the mirror. So I think it's okay for you to start because you want to change something. Yeah. As long as you can find and hopefully quickly find that you're doing it for other reasons too. So started because I was in strong dislike of my body, but then quickly I realized, my anxiety is a little bit better and I'm confident more because I just lifted that. Like,
whoa, what else can I do? You hold that car? Yeah, bro, I got you. Like, you're just picking up cars, no big deal.
Yeah. So having it like quickly like hit me like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this than just the body, and finding different wins besides just the body transformation of I showed up for myself again today. I kept the word to myself today. And also like, I can do so much more than I actually thought I could do. So building that confidence was a huge, huge thing for me, where I just fell in love with it. And now it's a habit, you know, now it's like, people are like, you're going to go to the gym today? But like, I do go to the gym. What do you mean? Like,
yeah, no, it's literally what I have to do. What are you talking about? Well, I think it does. It's powerful. And I tell my clients all the time, like, move your body because it releases endorphins. It helps you feel good. Like, you literally need it. Like, you actually have to move your body. And even if you're just like dancing or do something, but like get that release. And for me, it's like running literally like clears my mind. It's so therapeutic for me. And it's powerful for me because like I literally just like run And I like face my problems internally when I'm running. I'm like, okay, girl, like we're gonna run this out. Like you're gonna work it out, work it out, work it out. And it's just like it's such a need. And I love like what you said, like you find different confidence. And like if you don't love what your body looks like, self-love is changing your body for what you want it to look like then. And that doesn't mean that you have to go through surgery or something like that, but like just start to take care of yourself, like taking care of yourself with good food, nutrition, with how you focus on your mind, what you do with like soul food. Like, and by that, I mean, like, what do you take care of with your soul? What do you put into your mind? The people that you're around, like actually take care of you all over that self-love. And that also starts with moving your body and taking care of your body in that way. So definitely. I love that.
Definitely.
Talk to us a little bit about your coaching program. So Flourishing to Confidence, you had to find your own self-confidence. And I love that you said like you want to help women all over the world find confidence and know like their worth. How did you find, like, what's your worth now? And tell me 3 years ago what you thought your worth was compared to today, and how and why that's the message you want to give to women, that you really want to help them find their worth.
Yes. Okay. So my worth 3-4 years ago was always valued on other people's opinions.
Sure.
Through and through. Like, I didn't even have an idea that I could like voice my own worth. More of like, what does he think of me? What does she think of me? And that's where it was. I didn't allow myself to have much thought about who I was. And so the journey that I've taken through fitness, nutrition, and stepping up into my next level of doing what I want for myself, that has created who I am today, where my worth is unlimited. Like,
oh yes, girl, limitless. I love it. Yes,
and each and every day it gets more and more and more. Even if that means that I'm going through like kind of a drought and like things are really rough, my worth is still building because I'm getting stronger, and that foundation is building up for me to go higher and further. So I personally don't believe that anybody's worth is capped. You can always go more.
Well, and your worth isn't based on an accomplishment. It's not based on what your body looks like. It's not based on if you make this much money. It's not based on these kind of friends. Like, your worth is the same every single day, no matter where you were at 10 years ago or now. It's just actually realizing like you are worthy and stepping into that. And that's like the self-love journey, is finding that worth no matter what, and coming to terms. Like, I love how you said like accepting who you are fully, because that's what it is. It's like, okay, yeah. So for me, I was like, I did drugs, and I that was such a limiting belief against myself that I'm like, well, you're a drug addict. Like, this is who you are. And I had to change that and realize my worth was still the same. I didn't value myself enough. And so that's how I did that, you know? And then when you value yourself enough and you see your self-worth, like, you're like, wow, it's a total different life. So I love that. So then flourishing into confidence, sorry, keep going with all that. Yes. It's amazing.
Okay. So now where I've become and where I come from, really my coaching business started around fitness. I'm a certified personal trainer. So I was like, well, I could do that. And so I started just like, hey, I can help transform your body. And I did that for a while. But what I found out was every single woman that left me, I'd be like, you know, what did you get from this? Blah, blah, blah. And every single one said confidence. Like, yeah, their body, they were so excited about that. And when they would tell me those body wins too, it was like so powerful. But every single time they shared something of like, I stepped into this room for this event and I felt good. Like, I was happy with who I was. Or, you know, today I voiced my opinion to my parents about my lifestyle and I feel good about it instead of ashamed or scared. So them having that be their outcome every time, I was like, okay, I'm not even trying to tap into confidence and self-love, but I'm doing it. So what if I change my focus here and I actually set something up where I can walk you through like everything for you to get to that confident woman that you want to be.
Yes.
And that still does come with body and nutrition and fitness. That is still a part through and through, but there's like what Flourish to Confident Mastermind really is it's the deep work that you're not doing on your own for some reason.
Right.
Whether that be you don't know what to do, or, you know, you're scared to do it, or you're making excuses, or whatever it is that's stopping you from doing these things. Yeah. That's what Flourish to Confident is I'm going to sit there with you. I'm going to help you get through them all. And we're going to work through all of those limiting beliefs to help you in your career, your relationship, you know, your fitness, your body, everything.
Well, it really becomes a mindset, right? So I think that's what's important to think here is you're helping all these women, you're training them, you're training their bodies, but what's happening is you are really training their mind that entire time to think, I'm worth it, I can do this, I can be disciplined, I can go to the gym, I can eat right, I can make these small little improvements. Okay, I start to see this in myself, I am more confident, I am worthy, and that's all that it is. Like you change the mind, the body will flow with it, it will follow with it, and changing your mind is how you change your life, and then that's how you're okay to go back and then dive in and deal with like all these open tabs, like you said, I love that analogy, and then go in and like actually dive into those because you're like, okay, I want to change my mind, I want to grow it, and I want to level up, and I want to find my worth all the time, and that's where it's at. And so I love that that's what your program is, and I highly recommend anybody who wants to go with her, like she's a freaking boss lady, so go buy her program, go work with her because she's like stellar and so amazing, so you can learn so much from her and her confidence, and just go follow her, and like all her posts are so rad and beautiful and like funny and authentic and like amazing, so I just love it. What would be your advice for someone who's starting their self-love journey today?
Couple things kind of touched on before is like understand that it's okay where you are. Doesn't matter. You can start this journey no matter what. You could be at the bottom of the bottom, like face down. That's okay.
Yeah.
Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't be like, oh, I'll get it tomorrow. Start right now.
Yes, take action. Just freaking do it. Yes, I love it.
Like the first thing to do is to recognize where you're at. Like stop ignoring where you're at and being like, it's a bad day, but whatever. Just keep going. Like, why? What is creating this? You know, what is holding you back and giving you those feelings? It's not fun. It's not fun at all to do, but you have to. Yes. So you have to like literally go into your schedule and be like, me time from X to X.
Yes, I love it.
And you're going to sit there and you're going to think about what it is, journal it out, however you want to do it. But do it today. Like, stop waiting for tomorrow.
Yes, I love it. And I think that's people always be like, okay, next Monday, next this, I'm going to do this. It's like, why? You're going to feel the same way that's tomorrow or now. So just go ahead and change it and actually start taking that action for yourself because you're worth it, like right now. And I love that you said that because so many people are, I think they're actually afraid to take the action, to be honest. And like, what's going to happen? I'm going to really love myself and actually have to face the music and face all the things to find that. But what's worse is sitting where you're at now or facing the music and having a better life for the rest of your life, you know?
Exactly. Do you want to face a little bit of hard every single day or do you want to face a lot of hard right now?
Yeah.
So much easier later.
Yes. Choose your heart. I love it.
Yes.
Perfect.
That would be like the biggest thing is like, just do one thing right now. You don't have to be like, you don't have to have a huge morning routine. You don't have to do, you don't have to give hundreds of thousands of dollars away. Like you have to have that full circle of what you see like Oprah doing. You don't have to be Oprah. Like,
yes, I love it.
You're you. Start where you are. Just
like you get a TV, you get a TV, you get a TV. Okay, I found self-love. Like, no, that's not how it works. I love it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Who do you look up to? Sorry, go ahead. I just said Oprah. So like, who do you look up to the most about? So like,
actually, I was gonna say like, start surrounding yourself with those types of people.
Yes.
And what I mean, like surrounding, like, yes, you're people who are actually physically there, but read what you want to consume to actually become that person. Listen to what you want, and that type of stuff. Please stop following the people that make you feel less and inferior.
Yes.
And I even tell like my clients or girls who are following me, like if you're looking at my page and some days you're like, oh gosh, like please unfollow me. I'm not here for likes and comments and followers. Like I only want to bring happiness and uplifting things into your life. So yeah. So basically, what you asked is who do I look up to? And there's so many, but a lot of them are just like Brene Brown.
She's
the author.
Yes. Can she just be our soul sister? Like, Brene, we're talking to you. Come hang out. We want to hang out.
Please.
With you.
I want to be your best friend.
We're trying to hang out, girls. So hit us up. We're free anytime, actually. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime, I'll make time for you.
Yeah.
But seriously, I listen to her stuff all the time. I reread her books all the time. She's one of my biggest role models for sure.
1000%.
I don't really I don't follow celebrities or anything. I keep in my little bubble there. Even like other people on social media, like I don't follow huge accounts that a lot of other girls are like, oh, I want to be here one day, because I like ideas and I like reading thoughts from other people more than like looking at their body or,
Totally. I love that because you're trying to grow your mind. You want to learn. So I think that's beautiful. So your action steps would be take action, learn how to grow your mind, read, and then social media, like kind of a social media cleanse if you need to. And then like surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you lift yourself up. I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Such good action steps to do. Was there anything else that you want to add or anything that you want all women to know and love about themselves? Anything you want to say?
I think a big thing is stop like putting yourself in a bubble. Stop telling yourself that you have to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way. Just start working on those expectations and start just accepting that you try every single day. Like take those little wins every single day and reflect on the wins.
I love that. It's so good to do that. And like win for yourself. Like that's what it is just writing that down and be like, oh, I did this. Okay, today I did my routine today. I stuck to this, or I didn't eat out today. Like find those little wins for yourself. And that also creates that inner self-confidence. So it's just beautiful. Where can people find your program or find you?
They can find me on Instagram, just Megan Harriman, which I spell it really weird. And then the website for the Flourish to Confident is actually right in my Instagram.
Awesome.
And they personally DM me if they want like more information. I would love to like chat. I'm never going to be one of those people who are like, here it is, like go look. Like I want to chat with you.
How many clients are you taking on right now? Do you have a certain amount or like it's just as many as you can? What's your plan?
For this mastermind, I only have 10 spots left.
Oh, 10 spots, guys. Okay, that's a lot. So we need 10 spots, 10 amazing masterminds. So you'll do a call with them if they're interested in it, see if it makes sure it works and all that jazz.
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for this. Like I've just learned so much from you. I love sharing experiences, learning like self-love journey. I think that's what's beautiful is that every single person's self-love journey is similar and yet so different. And it's just deciding to wake up one day and be like, no, I want to find my worth. And then really going through and dealing with every stepping stone that's led you to here and realizing that all of those got you to here. So you have to accept it. You have to love it. You have to honor it. You can't have shame about it and be vulnerable with it. And I think most importantly, be vulnerable with yourself. That's where you deal and actually have to heal from it. Right. And then that's you releasing all those limiting beliefs and truly finding you and like finding your worth. And this girl's on fire. She's on a mission to help women find her worth. So thank you for using your gift to do that. Like I'm on the same mission, girls. Let's freaking let women rise up. Like, how beautiful could that be if women could just love and honor one another and rise together and not judge and compare? Like we could literally change the world if we did that. So I hope that you guys are listening. My challenge for you is to not judge other women, not compare, just love them. And really when you come from a place of love, you'll love yourself more too. So thank you, Megan, so freaking much. You're super rad. I love your face. And that's all, guys.